What's going on, brother? I thought instead of writing this out, it probably would actually be easier to just send you a video with how to do your this extension. So that's what we're going to do right now. First thing to do is to just build your project in React or Redux or just plain JavaScript, whatever you're going to do. But here's my app here, whatever, all the standard JavaScript stuff. Build in React. Then what you do is you're going to run, once it's all built out, going to run yarn build. And when you run yarn build, whether you know this or not, what happens is that it bundles everything up and puts it into code that your browser can actually read, because your browser doesn't know what to do with this ES6 syntax up here, and it doesn't know what to do with this material UI element. So what it does is it compiles everything into it puts it in a build folder in a format that the browser can actually read. So now here is your whole app just written in code that your browser can understand. So once you've done that, again, you've run yarn build, you're simply just going to upload that to that build file to your Google Chrome extension. So when you go into Google Chrome, click the little drop down here, go into more tools and extensions, and it's going to bring you here. Make sure developer mode is on so you can work with things you're working on. Developer mode is on. You're going to load unpacked extension, and you're just going to find your build file. Here I'm already in there because I was there before, but you go to your root directory 2-a-day, that's what mine's called. Just click on your build file and select it. And then you're probably going to get an error right away. Failed to load extension. You don't have a manifest version, key must be set to 2, blah, blah, blah. What this is telling you is that Google Chrome needs a manifest.json file to know what to do with your code and what permissions it has and what scripts it's allowed to execute. So what you have to do is in the build folder, there's going to be a manifest.json file that is actually going to get overwritten every time you run yarn build. So what I recommend you doing is once you write out a manifest.json file for Chrome, store it someplace elsewhere, and then you can copy and paste it in each time. So just to illustrate the point, I'm going to take this out. You'll see why in a second. So basically, you have to have at the very least these 3 keys right here. It has to be set to 2. You have to give it a name. You have to give it a number. Chrome URL overrides. This is so that when you click on a new tab, it actually opens to your extension. And what it does is what this is saying is when you open a new tab, load up this file, which is index.html, which is within your build file itself. In order for that to happen, you have to give it under the permissions. You have to open an array and at least tabs you have to include. Storage is if you want to use your the user's local storage. We can get into that later. And then it requires you have a content security policy, which is basically a way for the Google Chrome to determine whether or not to execute your JavaScript files and any script tags that you include. It's basically a security procedure to prevent malicious JavaScript scripts from executing. And you have to. So what they do is, and this is becoming a new standard, that you have to specify what scripts you'll allow and what scripts you won't allow. And I'll show you how this affects things in a second. So basically, once you have the basics, copy this into your and override. Copy this into your manifest.json file and save it. Don't rerun yarn build, and then try to load the load unpacked extension. You're already in your build directory, so select that. And now you will get your app showing up right here. And then when you click on a new tab, nothing's going to happen, which is actually what we expect at this point. And the reason nothing is happening is because it's saying there's an error that you see in the console, refuse to execute inline script because it violates the following content security policy directive, script source self. So you have to either set this to unsafe inline keyword, which as of manifest version 2 in Google Chrome no longer works, or a hash, and this actually gives you the hash you have to set it to. What this hash is it's a hexagonal or whatever. It's a coded. It's a coded representation or an encoded representation of your JavaScript file, your unique JavaScript file, and so the browser can check your JavaScript against and run that through a hash, and it should match this hash right here. And if it does, it knows it can execute your JavaScript. If it doesn't, then it knows it's malicious and it won't do it. So you pretty much, your browser is going to tell you exactly what the hashed version of your JavaScript files hash to, and you have to all you have to do is just set that within in your manifest.json file. So go back in there, you have to have script source self and then a space and then just exactly like it is here, prefixed by SHA-256, dash and then the equal sign on the end and then object source self. Once you have this, save it, go back to your Google Chrome extensions, you can click reload, and that should work. So now we have the app that you built with React, and you can do all this fun stuff that I am going to be doing with my app. So that is the quick overview. Just again, high level, build your app, as you would with React, run yarn build to get it to compile into code that your browser understands. Go into that build folder, access manifest.json, and copy in the proper directives that you're going to need from to tell Google Chrome what to do. Go to your extensions page, which can be found under more tools, settings, or extensions rather, and load an unpacked extension. And then when you open up a new tab, you'll have your app ready to go. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.